itchy spots after 55 that could be silent warnings of serious health problems. If your body has been itching in strange places lately, this could be more than just dry skin. These may be silent warnings that your health needs attention now. In today's video, you'll discover the 5 itchy spots after 55 that could be signs of serious health issues and what you can do to protect yourself. This is about clarity, about staying strong, independent, and informed. But before we begin, take a second and let us know in the comments, where are you watching from? Because no matter where you are, your health matters, and it starts here. Number 1, persistent itching on the lower legs. What if a simple itch on the lower legs was not just about dry skin, but a signal from the body, a quiet reminder that blood is not flowing as freely as it once did? For many adults after the age of 55, the calves, shins, or ankles become places where itchiness lingers without an obvious cause. Lotion may soothe it temporarily, but it returns, persistent and puzzling. To dismiss this as nothing more than aging skin is to overlook one of the body's most subtle but powerful ways of communicating. Science now tells us that itching in the lower legs can often be tied to circulation problems, particularly a condition called peripheral artery disease, which is both common and underdiagnosed in older adults. Peripheral artery disease, often shortened to PAD, affects more than 8.5 million Americans, according to the American Heart Association, with the majority being older than 60. The disease develops when arteries become narrowed or blocked by plaque, reducing blood flow to the lower limbs. While some people notice leg pain or cramping, others experience more subtle symptoms, including persistent itching, skin changes, or a feeling of heaviness. When blood supply is limited, the skin becomes drier and more fragile, nerves are irritated, and tissues do not receive the oxygen and nutrients they need. The itch that appears at night or after long periods of sitting is the body's gentle way of asking, is circulation being taken for granted? Stories from real life bring the science into sharper focus. A retired teacher in Pennsylvania once described to me how her legs would itch every evening after dinner. She tried switching soaps, detergents, and moisturizers, but nothing changed. Eventually, a vascular specialist explained that her blood flow was compromised. It was not an allergy at all, it was her circulation. Instead of despairing, she chose to take small, steady steps forward. She began walking in her neighborhood park for 20 minutes every morning, despite the chill of early spring. She kept a water bottle by her bedside to remind herself to stay hydrated. She practiced lifting her legs onto a small footrest in the evenings. Within a few months, she noticed not only that the itching had diminished, but also that her energy and sleep quality had improved. Her story shows how early attention to these whispers can prevent serious complications later. From a medical perspective, the concern is not the itch itself, but the risk it represents. Poor circulation increases strain on the heart and blood vessels, raising the risk of heart attack, stroke, and even cognitive decline. Research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology has linked PAD with nearly double the risk of cardiovascular death if left untreated. Yet, what is equally important is the hopeful side. Lifestyle interventions can make a remarkable difference. Studies show that moderate exercise, 150 minutes per week, which could be 25 minutes of walking 6 days a week, improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, and even stimulates new blood vessel growth. In fact, walking remains one of the most powerful yet underused medicines, available to nearly everyone without a prescription. Hydration is another overlooked remedy. The body is nearly 60% water, and blood flow depends on proper fluid balance. Older adults often drink less water, partly due to a reduced sense of thirst, but dehydration thickens the blood, making circulation harder. Even something as simple as carrying a refillable water bottle throughout the day can help. Reducing sodium intake also eases the burden on the arteries. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend limiting daily sodium to less than 2,300 milligrams, yet the average American consumes far more. Cutting back on salty snacks, processed meats, and canned soups makes circulation healthier, which in turn can calm the rest restless itch of the legs. Another tool that physicians often recommend is compression therapy. Compression socks, when properly fitted, support the veins in the lower legs, helping blood return to the heart more efficiently. For someone who spends long hours sitting, whether reading, sewing, or enjoying television, compression socks can make a surprising difference in reducing discomfort and itching. Combined with light ankle flexes or calf stretches, they keep the blood moving and the tissues nourished. Safety must also be emphasized. Persistent itching without a rash, especially in the lower legs, deserves medical evaluation. A simple ankle brachial index test, which compares blood pressure in the ankle with that in the arm, can quickly reveal whether circulation is impaired. For some, medication may be necessary, but for many, lifestyle changes bring dramatic improvements. The important point is that early attention prevents later crises. Ignoring the itch may allow small problems to grow silently into larger ones, while listening and acting can change the trajectory of health entirely. The emotional dimension should not be overlooked either. Many older adults carry the belief that discomfort is just part of aging, something to be endured rather than questioned. Yet this perspective can rob life of joy and independence. Itching legs at night, for example, may keep someone awake, creating a cycle of fatigue, irritability, and worry. But to reframe the symptom as a reminder to move, hydrate, and care for oneself restores not only health but also confidence. The body is not betraying us with age, it is guiding us. If we know how to listen, the lesson then is clear. An itch on the lower legs may be one of the smallest symptoms, but it can carry the weight of much larger truths. It may be the body's way of protecting the heart, the brain, and the future. Responding to it with wise attention and practical steps transforms a nuisance into an opportunity. When the legs itch, rise from the chair, walk a little, stretch the ankles, refill a glass of water, choose a meal with less salt and more fresh ingredients. Each small act builds strength, clarity, and resilience. So the next time the lower legs whisper with that persistent itch, see it not as a curse, but as a teacher. The body is inviting action before problems grow. It is offering a chance to stay independent, to keep walking, to keep thinking clearly, to keep living fully. By listening to the whisper and acting on it, years are not only added to life, but life is added to years with dignity, energy, and joy. Number 2, persistent itching on the upper back. Your body hears everything your mind says. These words from Naomi Judd, the beloved American singer and activist, carry special meaning when considering the quiet signs of aging. After the age of 55, many people notice a stubborn itch on the upper or middle back. It is often brushed aside as laundry detergent, an old tag in a shirt, or simply the dryness of older skin. But sometimes, the back is not just itching for comfort. It is speaking for deeper organs, especially the liver and kidneys, which work silently to filter the blood and keep the body's internal balance. When these organs struggle, waste products can accumulate in the bloodstream, and the skin becomes one of the first places where the body whispers for attention. Medically, the connection between back itch and organ health is well established. The liver, located just beneath the rib cage, acts as the body's primary filter, processing everything from nutrients to toxins. When it is overwhelmed, bile salts and waste products can circulate in the blood and irritate nerve endings in the skin, creating persistent itchiness. Similarly, the kidneys act like natural purification systems, filtering about 50 gallons of blood every single day. If their function weakens, urea and other waste accumulate, which can lead to itchy sensations often on the back where nerve endings are dense. According to the National Kidney Foundation, 1 in 3 American adults is at risk of kidney disease, yet most do not recognize the early warning signs. Itching, though seemingly trivial, may be one of them. A story from rural Kentucky illustrates this truth. A 8-year-old grandmother began to notice her back itching every night. She tried every lotion available at the pharmacy and even changed her laundry soap 3 times, but the problem persisted. Her daughter, concerned, urged her to see a doctor. Blood tests revealed early kidney dysfunction and slightly elevated liver enzymes. Fortunately, Because she caught it in time, simple lifestyle changes made all the difference. She began drinking more water, reducing her daily sodium intake, and cutting back on sweetened drinks. She also shifted toward fresh fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins instead of processed foods. Within weeks, the itching eased, her swelling ankles improved, and her energy returned. That itch had been her body's gentle way of saying something deeper was out of balance. Science confirms her experience. Chronic liver disease is a leading cause of itching without rash, especially in older adults. In fact, the American Liver Foundation notes that nearly 20% of people with liver dysfunction report persistent itchiness as one of their earliest symptoms. Similarly, research from the American Journal of Kidney Diseases has shown that more than 40% of patients with moderate kidney impairment experience itching, often before other noticeable symptoms appear. The skin, therefore, becomes an early alarm system, alerting us before more serious damage occurs. The hopeful news is that there are many ways to protect these vital organs, and the steps are surprisingly accessible. Hydration remains the foundation. The kidneys need adequate water to flush waste products efficiently. For most adults, about 8 glasses per day is a safe and effective goal, though individual needs vary depending on activity and climate. Reducing sodium to less than 2,300 milligrams per day also protects both the liver and kidneys, easing strain on blood vessels and reducing fluid retention. Alcohol, while part of many social traditions, is processed directly by the liver and can accelerate damage when consumed in excess. Choosing moderation or abstinence becomes an act of self-preservation and empowerment. Medication management is another overlooked but important factor. Many older adults take multiple prescriptions, some of which are processed by the liver or kidneys. Regular check-ins with a physician or pharmacist help ensure that medications are supporting health rather than placing unnecessary strain on these organs. This type of proactive care reflects the American spirit of independence, taking charge of one's own well-being with knowledge and foresight. From a cultural perspective, back itch has often been dismissed as minor, yet it is worth reframing. In American history, the back has symbolized labor, burden, and endurance. To have a strong back was to carry responsibility and strength. When the back now itches persistently without cause, perhaps it is a reminder not of weakness, but of the need to ease the hidden burdens carried inside the body. The message is not to ignore or endure, but to adjust and protect. Emotionally, the itch can be frustrating, even embarrassing. Many people cannot reach the spot easily and feel helpless, scratching against door frames or asking for help. Reframing this frustration as an invitation to investigate, rather than a curse to bear, changes the entire experience. It is not a sign of frailty, but a reminder that the body is still capable of guiding us toward better health if we listen. Practical steps are simple yet powerful. Drink more water throughout the day, perhaps by keeping a pitcher on the counter as a visible reminder. Cook at home more often, using herbs and spices in place of salt for flavor. Schedule regular checkups and request routine blood tests to monitor kidney and liver function. Replace one processed snack each day with a fresh fruit or vegetable. Even small actions, repeated consistently, reduce the burden on these organs and allow the skin to calm. The larger lesson is that persistent itching on the upper back should not create fear, but awareness. The body does not shout at first, it whispers. That itch may be a whisper from the liver, from the kidneys, or from the hidden balance of the blood itself. Listening to it is an act of wisdom, of self-respect, and of courage. So when the upper back begins to itch without reason, take it as an invitation. Let it be the spark that inspires a new habit, whether it is a glass of water before bedtime, a meal with less salt and more color, or a visit to the doctor for a checkup. These actions are not burdens, but gifts, gifts of safety, clarity, and strength. By responding early, years are not only added to life, but life is added to years, lived with independence, dignity, and joy. Number 3, persistent itching on the scalp or neck. It began with a small irritation, something easy to dismiss. A 72-year-old man living in Colorado noticed that every evening, as he settled into his chair to read, he found himself scratching the back of his neck. At first, he blamed the shampoo he had used for years. He bought a new brand, then another. Nothing changed. He switched pillowcases, adjusted the thermostat, even tried expensive creams. The itch always returned, quiet during the day but stronger at night. Finally, after weeks of frustration, his doctor explained what was happening. The itch was not about his skin at all. It was about stress, nerves, and the way his aging body was handling tension. His nervous system was sending signals that his scalp and neck could not ignore. What seemed like a nuisance was, in truth, a message from within. Itching of the scalp and neck is often misunderstood. Many people assume it is simply dandruff, a minor allergy, or just another part of getting older. But medical research tells a different story. These areas are rich in sensitive nerve endings, closely tied to the body's stress response. As we age, our ability to regulate stress changes. Cortisol, the hormone released during worry or tension, lingers longer in the bloodstream than it did in youth. The nervous system becomes less efficient at calming itself. What once might have been released with a good night's sleep now lingers as a low-grade hum of unease. For some, this stress expresses itself as restless thoughts. For others, it shows up as fatigue. And for many, it emerges as an itch across the scalp or neck, without rash, redness, or visible cause. The scientific link between stress and itching is well established. Studies published in the Journal of Investigative Dermatology have shown that psychological stress can increase skin sensitivity, triggering itch through the release of histamine and neuropeptides. Older adults are particularly vulnerable, not because their bodies are weaker, but because decades of accumulated stress, combined with natural changes in the nervous system, make them more reactive. The scalp and neck are prime locations for this response, acting like pressure points where internal tension meets external sensation. Stories from across the country echo this connection. A retired nurse in Florida found that her scalp itched most in the evenings when she felt lonely, especially after her husband passed away. Social withdrawal and quiet grief amplified her stress. When she began attending a community book club and volunteering at a local food pantry, the itching gradually subsided. Another man, a former mechanic in Detroit, discovered that journaling before bed helped ease his mind and reduce the nightly scratching at his neck. In both cases, the itch was never about the skin. It was about the nervous system asking for balance. This does not mean every case of scalp or neck itch is psychological. Sometimes it is related to neuropathy, small nerve fiber changes that often accompany diabetes, or early signs of cognitive decline. In fact, research has shown that chronic itch can be an early symptom of neurological changes. That is why medical evaluation is important, particularly if the itching is constant and does not respond to skin treatments. A doctor may recommend tests for blood sugar, vitamin deficiencies, or neurological function, but even when there is no major underlying disease, stress management remains a central part of treatment. The encouraging truth is that the nervous system can be soothed, even after 55. Activities that calm the mind reduce the itch. Simple breathing exercises, practiced for 5 minutes in the morning or evening, lower cortisol levels and reduce skin sensitivity. Spending time outdoors, whether walking in a park or sitting under a tree, allows the body's stress response to reset. Social connection, calling a sibling, meeting a friend for coffee, joining a club protects both mental health and physical comfort. Exercise, even gentle stretching or chair yoga, releases endorphins that quiet the nervous system. From a cultural perspective, it is worth noting that Americans often carry their stress in silence. The phrase, carrying the weight of the world on one's shoulders, reflects a truth. The shoulders, neck, and scalp are where tension gathers. When itching appears here, it is not a sign of weakness. It is the body's way of asking for relief, for a lighter burden, for a gentler rhythm of living. Emotionally, the sensation can be discouraging. Many older adults worry that unexplained itchiness means something serious, yet they feel embarrassed to mention it. Reframing the itch as a message rather than a mystery restores control. Instead of fearing the sensation, it can be welcomed as an opportunity to pause, reflect, and adjust. The body is not betraying its owner. It is guiding in the quiet language it knows best. Practical steps are available to everyone. Create a small evening ritual to ease tension before bed. A warm shower, deep breathing, or 10 minutes of journaling. Replace constant news watching, which often fuels stress, with music or light reading. Reconnect with others, even through simple phone calls. Drink enough water, as dehydration can worsen nerve sensitivity. Consider supplements only with a doctor's guidance, as deficiencies in B vitamins or magnesium can contribute to nerve-related itch. Most importantly, do not dismiss persistent scalp or neck itching as just age. Seek medical advice if needed, but also nurture the nervous system with daily acts of care. The deeper lesson is that an itch on the scalp or neck is rarely random. It is part of a conversation between body and mind, a reminder that emotional health and physical health are inseparable. The skin does not simply react to what is placed on it. It responds to what the heart carries and what the mind holds. So, when the scalp or neck begins to itch without reason, listen closely. Ask whether stress, loneliness, or worry may be speaking through the skin. Then take a small but meaningful step toward balance. A breath, a walk, a call, a laugh, a moment of rest. These actions are not just remedies for discomfort. They are investments in peace of mind, resilience, and the joy of living fully. In answering the itch, life after 55 can be lived not only with less irritation, but with greater calm, clarity, and connection. Number 4, persistent itching on the chest or abdomen. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, nearly 1 in 2 adults over the age of 60 is at risk of nutritional deficiency, even if their weight appears normal. The National Institutes of Health adds that vitamin B12 deficiency alone affects more than 20% of Americans over 65. These numbers are not just statistics. They are powerful reminders that malnutrition in later life often hides in plain sight. One of the surprising ways this silent problem reveals itself is through the skin, particularly with persistent itching across the chest or abdomen. What seems like a minor irritation may actually be the body's early alarm system, signaling that it is not receiving the nourishment it needs to function at its best. It is easy to overlook the connection. A man in his late 60s from Arizona once told me he felt embarrassed by the constant itch across his chest. He blamed the desert climate, switched soaps, and tried countless lotions, but nothing worked. When we examined his diet, the truth became clear. He often skipped breakfast, ate mostly crackers or canned soup for lunch, and rarely prepared fresh meals for dinner. Blood tests revealed low levels of vitamin B12, magnesium, and omega-3 fatty acids. His skin was not failing him. His diet was. Once he began adding small but meaningful foods, scrambled eggs in the morning, a handful of walnuts in the afternoon, a serving of salmon once a week, the itch diminished. Just as importantly, his energy improved, his sleep deepened, and his mood lifted. The science explains why. The chest and abdomen contain a high density of blood vessels and nerve endings. When nutrition is insufficient, the skin in these areas often becomes dry and irritable, while nerve signals misfire, producing the sensation of itch. Low vitamin B12 can affect both nerve and skin health, while deficiencies in omega-3 fatty acids leave the skin less supple and more prone to irritation. Magnesium and zinc, essential for cellular repair and immune function, play a critical role as well. Without them, the body struggles to heal itself, and the first place this weakness is seen is often on the skin. Medical research supports this connection. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that malnourished older adults were significantly more likely to report unexplained skin conditions, including chronic itch, than those with balanced diets. Another study from Tufts University showed that seniors with higher nutrient intake not only had healthier skin, but also reported sharper cognitive function and stronger immune defenses. In other words, nutrition is not simply about avoiding hunger. It is about fueling every system of the body, from the skin to the brain. The tragedy is that malnutrition in America often hides behind normal weight. An older adult may look healthy, yet their meals lack the density of nutrients needed to sustain strong health. Processed foods, quick snacks, or a lack of appetite can gradually erode the body's reserves. That is why unexplained itching on the chest or abdomen can serve as one of the earliest, most visible warnings. It is not just about the skin. It is about what the body is missing inside. The good news is that addressing nutritional deficiencies does not require complicated or expensive solutions. Simple daily choices make a profound difference. Eggs, fish, nuts, seeds, fresh fruits, and colorful vegetables all provide essential nutrients that protect both skin and nerve health. Whole foods not only reduce itch, but also strengthen muscles, sharpen memory, and support the immune system. For those who find cooking difficult, small steps such as preparing boiled eggs ahead of time, buying frozen vegetables to steam quickly, or adding canned tuna to a salad can ensure consistent nutrition without overwhelming effort. A high-quality multivitamin discussed with a physician can also help fill in the gaps. Beyond food, hydration again plays an essential role. Older adults often underestimate their need for water, but dehydration worsens nutrient absorption and skin sensitivity. Keeping a glass of water by the bedside or carrying a bottle during daily activities makes it easier to stay consistent. Emotionally, the itch on the chest or abdomen can be discouraging. Some feel embarrassed to discuss it, thinking it is just vanity or a minor nuisance. Yet reframing the itch as a message changes everything. It is not an inconvenience. It is the body's way of asking for fuel, for care, for a renewal of strength. It reminds us that nourishment is not only about extending years of life, but about enriching the quality of those years. From a cultural perspective, food has always been more than sustenance in America. It is part of family, tradition, and connection. For many older adults, meals once shared with children or spouses may now be solitary, leading to less interest in cooking or eating well. Recognizing this emotional link is crucial. Preparing even simple meals with friends, joining a community dinner, or sharing recipes with neighbors can restore both nutrition and joy. The itch across the chest or belly, then, is not just a medical symptom. It is also an invitation to reconnect with food as a source of life, energy, and companionship. The larger lesson is clear. Persistent itching on the chest or abdomen should never be ignored. It may not be about soap, fabric, or dry air at all. It may be about nutrition, about what the body hungers for beneath the surface. By listening to this signal and responding with better food choices, more hydration, and renewed attention to self-care, the years after 55 can be lived with strength and clarity. So the next time the chest or abdomen itches without reason, let it be a reminder. Add one nourishing food to the plate. Drink another glass of water. Share a meal with someone. These small choices are powerful acts of love for the body and spirit. They do more than calm the skin. They build resilience, independence, and joy. In answering the call, life is not only extended but enriched, one nourishing choice at a time. Number 5. Persistent itching on the arms. The afternoon sun poured through the wide kitchen window, casting golden light across a rocking chair where an older man sat with his sleeves rolled up. His grandchildren played in the yard, their laughter drifting in through the open door. Yet instead of joining them, he sat rubbing his forearms against the arms of the chair, trying to relieve an itch that had been haunting him for weeks. No rash, no visible irritation, just a constant urge to scratch. This simple scene, so ordinary and so familiar, captures one of the overlooked signals of aging. Persistent itching on the arms. What seems like a nuisance on the skin can, in truth, be a message from the nervous system, the endocrine system, or even the body's delicate balance of blood sugar. The arms are our tools of connection. They hug, they reach, they lift, they hold. When they begin to itch without reason, it is not just the skin speaking. It may be the nerves, the thyroid gland, or the body's response to changes in blood sugar. Persistent itching on the forearms or upper arms has been linked to conditions such as peripheral neuropathy, which often develops with diabetes, and to imbalances in the thyroid, which regulates metabolism and energy. Both conditions are increasingly common among older Americans. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 37 million Americans live with diabetes, and about 20 million more are estimated to have thyroid disorders, many undiagnosed. An unexplained itch on the arms can be one of the earliest signs. From a neurological perspective, the arms are highly sensitive to changes in nerve function. Small fiber neuropathy, in which tiny nerve fibers misfire, often manifests first in the extremities, leading not only to tingling or burning, but sometimes to itchiness without visible cause. This can be a subtle indicator of diabetes or prediabetes, conditions that often remain silent until complications arise. Similarly, an underactive thyroid can lead to dry skin and itching, particularly on the arms and legs. The arms, always exposed and always active, become the canvas on which these internal imbalances reveal themselves. Consider the story of a 66-year-old woman from California who loved quilting. She noticed that her forearms itched constantly while she worked, to the point where she would pause her stitching just to rub them. At first, she assumed it was the fabric dust, but when the itch persisted, her doctor ordered blood tests. The results showed early diabetes and thyroid imbalance, with lifestyle changes reducing refined sugar, adding more whole grains and vegetables, walking with her quilting group, and starting appropriate treatment, her itching subsided. More importantly, she avoided further complications. What seemed like a small irritation became the clue that saved her long-term health. The science is equally clear. Studies in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology have documented chronic arm itching, often called brachioradial pruritus, as a symptom linked not only to nerve irritation, but also to systemic conditions. Other research confirms that both diabetes and thyroid disease frequently present with unexplained skin discomfort before other symptoms appear. This means that what happens on the arms is not random. It is the body's way of signaling imbalance early, offering a window of opportunity to respond before harm progresses. The encouraging truth is that many of the actions that reduce arm itching are also those that improve overall health. Balancing blood sugar through diet and exercise not only supports the nerves, but also protects the heart and brain. Walking for 30 minutes most days, lifting light weights to strengthen the arms, and choosing whole foods instead of processed ones improve circulation and stabilize energy. Supporting thyroid health with adequate iodine, selenium, and regular medical checkups ensures that metabolism functions smoothly. Even hydration plays a role, since dry skin worsens itching and dehydration interferes with nerve function. From an emotional perspective, arm itching is more than a physical annoyance. It interferes with activities that bring joy: gardening, cooking, playing with grandchildren, creating art. It can make older adults withdraw, embarrassed to scratch in public, or frustrated by the constant distraction. But reframing this itch as a messenger rather than a curse changes the story. Instead of surrendering to irritation, one can see it as an invitation to check in, to nourish the body, and to make changes that restore not only skin comfort but overall vitality. The arms also carry symbolic weight in American life. They are symbols of work, of strength, of embrace. To roll up one's sleeves has always meant readiness, determination, resilience. When the arms now speak through an unexplained itch, perhaps they are asking for care in return. They remind us that strength is not only about labor, but also about balance, rest, and nourishment. Practical steps are within reach. Schedule routine checkups that include blood sugar and thyroid function tests. Add more fiber to meals to regulate glucose levels. Keep the arms moisturized, not only for comfort, but to protect the skin barrier. Use the arms in activity, lifting groceries, tending the garden, even tossing a ball with grandchildren to maintain nerve health and circulation. And if itching persists, seek medical advice rather than ignoring it. The larger lesson is simple yet profound. Persistent itching on the arms should not be dismissed. It may be the body's early signal of conditions that can be managed and even prevented when caught in time. The arms, ever central to human connection, are also central to health. Listening to them brings safety, strength, and renewal. So when the forearms or upper arms itch without reason, let that moment be a reminder. Reach not only to scratch, but to take action. Reach for a healthier meal, for a water glass, for the phone to schedule a checkup, for the hand of a loved one. The arms that once carried burdens and offered embraces now ask for attention in return. By responding wisely, the years after 55 can be lived with clarity, independence, and joy, where every reach is not just an act of comfort, but an act of life itself. Life after 55 is a season of wisdom, but also a season when the body speaks to us in whispers rather than shouts. These whispers can come in many forms, and one of the most overlooked is the simple act of itching. What seems like nothing, a restless leg, an itchy back, a scalp that will not calm down, or irritation on the chest and arms can be the body's gentle way of saying something deeper. The truth is that each itch carries a message. The legs remind us that circulation is the lifeline of the heart. The back speaks for the liver and kidneys that filter and protect us. The scalp and neck reveal the nervous system's quiet battle with stress. The chest and abdomen tell the story of nutrition, of the body's hunger for real fuel. And the arms remind us of nerves, blood sugar, and thyroid balance, asking us to care before imbalance becomes illness. The message is not meant to frighten. It is meant to awaken. The body is never against us. It is always trying to guide us. It does not begin with pain or crisis. It begins with signals, often so small that they can be ignored. But when we pay attention, those signals become opportunities to act early, to prevent bigger problems, and to live stronger, longer, and happier lives. The science is clear. Circulation improves with walking, hydration, and small dietary changes. The liver and kidneys are supported by fresh foods, less salt, and more water. Stress on the nervous system can be eased with breathing, movement, and connection with others. Nutrition nourishes not only the skin, but also the mind and muscles. And blood sugar and thyroid health can be protected with balance, regular checkups, and a few wise adjustments in daily habits. Each of these steps is simple. Each one is within reach. And together, they build resilience, independence, and joy. There are countless stories of older adults who listened. A man who started walking to ease leg itch found that his heart grew stronger and his sleep improved. A woman who changed her diet after back itch discovered that her energy returned. Another who faced scalp itching discovered it was stress, and by reconnecting with friends, she gained both peace and comfort. These are not miracles. They are the results of choosing to listen to the whispers of the body and to respond with care. So the question is, what will you do with these whispers? The next time an itch lingers without reason, pause. Ask yourself what the body may be trying to say. Then take one step. Drink that glass of water. Prepare a colorful plate. Walk around the block. Call a loved one. Or schedule a checkup. Each step is not small when it changes the direction of your life. Now, we would love to hear from you. Which of these lessons spoke to you the most? Have you noticed any of these signals in your own life? Share your experience in the comments below. Your story could be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so right now. By subscribing, you will never miss the lessons, the stories, and the inspiration that can help you live the years ahead with more clarity, strength, and joy. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for being part of this journey. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, may your days be filled with peace, energy, and the knowledge that every small step you take is a gift to your health and to your future.